Our next speaker is Alex Melnitchouck. He's from Alberta. Alex holds a PhD in agricultural sciences and a master's in soil and environmental sciences, backed up by about 30 years of work experience in the international level, including digital ag projects in Canada, the US, Germany, Switzerland, Brazil, Australia, and Eastern Europe. He's a member of the Alberta Institute of Agrologists, and he's an author of more than 50 publications in scientific journals. Alex is the founder of IntelMax Corp. In 2015, the main asset of his business was acquired by Bayer Crop Sciences, and it became part of the engine, the geospatial engine for the new digital farming platform, which is now called Xarvio. Some of you probably know Xarvio, which is owned by BASF. From 2019 to 2023, Alex served as the Chief Technology Officer in Digital Agriculture at Olds College in Alberta, and leading their digital ag strategy and development of the digital ag platform at Olds College's Smart Farm, which is a 3,500-acre technology-enabled applied research and learning environment out in Olds. So, I've asked Alex to come today to talk to us about sort of finding some of the easy wins of digital agriculture and how you can implement some of those on your farm businesses. Thanks very much, Alex.
Thank you, Ryan. That was a great introduction. A real pleasure to be here, honor and pleasure. I didn't grow up on the farm. I grew up in a research field, potato research field, because my father was a professor of agronomy, reading lectures for over 50 years in agronomy until his last days. So for me, when Ryan invited me, it was like no-brainer thing to do. I said, yeah, I'm coming, and I'll be more than happy to share everything I know about digital agriculture with the audience. So that picture was taken exactly 19 years ago. So yeah, a real pleasure to be here. Thanks to the organizers for inviting me, and thanks to Agriculture Canada for sponsoring the trip. So digital agriculture is a huge topic. Before moving to the main part of my presentation, I just would like to tell you an old joke. You know what, unfortunately, there's no mobile microphone. Our DJs, they have a motion sickness, so I cannot move, so I have to be static here. So just before the main part of the presentation, think about it. Somewhere in the mountains, an old shepherd was herding his flock. It was a nice sunny day, blue skies, very peaceful environment, nice weather. So the sheep was grazing and the shepherd was meditating, and suddenly he heard a noise, and the helicopter landed, and the young guy wearing a tie and a tablet, he came out of the helicopter and he said, "Sir, you're running your business in the wrong way. I give you my advice. If you follow this pathway, in about 3 hours, you will reach a nice green area. I can see that on the satellite imagery. Your sheep will eat better. You'll have more wool, more meat. That's my advice to you. And as a management fee, I'm taking one of your sheep." And he's about to jump back on the helicopter. And the old shepherd said, "Excuse me, if I tell you who you are and what your business is, can I get my animal back?" And the guy said, "Yeah, try it." He said, "You're a digital ag consultant with the next company." And the guy said, "How did you know that?" "It's very simple. Well, first of all, I didn't call you and you showed up here. Second thing," he said, "you were trying to tell me something I knew long time before you were born, and you tried to get paid for that. And finally, just give me back my dog." Well, but that's not everything. I told that story in one of the meetings with a large audience. It was a guy sitting on the front row. He was laughing. He said, "Yeah, that's great." my presentation was over. He was chasing me. So yeah, that was a great presentation, and I really liked that joke. I said, yeah, thanks. He said, you know what? One thing I didn't understand. Who lost the dog? I said, okay. Well, anyway, yeah, that was just a long introduction, but happy Friday to everybody. Let's talk about digital agriculture. First of all, let's agree on some terminology. What is precision ag, digital ag, smart farming? There are a lot of fancy terms. So usually precision agriculture is referred to site-specific field management. Every field has a certain degree of variability, and precision farming is about managing that variability for fertilizer application, seeding or planting, or crop protection products and things like that. So digital farming usually includes any type of or any methods of data collection, analysis, utilization to make agriculture more efficient. And smart farming, typically it's even broader concept that includes pretty much any kind of innovative technologies, including biological, soil microbiology, includes digital farming, includes pretty much any kind of futuristic technologies that can make agriculture more efficient. A couple of other terms, digitization versus digitalization. So digitizing things means usually converting something into a digital format. So let's say you created a digital field boundary and saved on the computer, that's digitizing. And digitalizing typically refers to a digital transformation. So, and we're going to talk a little bit about digitalizing of agriculture. So this slide is about 5 years old, but it's still quite relevant, by McKinsey Global Institute. A level of digitalization in different industries. So telecommunication, finances, very easy to digitize. They're all on the top of that list. Agriculture is number last on the list. It's not because there is something wrong with agriculture. Agriculture is a very noble business. It's a very hard business. And the reason why it's on the bottom of the list, just because of its complexity and many challenges that agriculture is facing. So let's just think about it. There are over 3 billion of cell phone or smartphone users around the world. So for that reason, if you want to download any entertainment app or any financial app, it's just very easy. You click the button, you download it. So when it comes to the farming industry, the number of farmers or people working in the ag industry using different digital devices are much smaller. So agriculture is way more fragmented. Something that was developed for Alberta will not work in Brazil. Something that was developed in PEI probably will not work anywhere in Australia. So many things, many digital technologies developed for different parts of the world. They're very region-specific, crop-specific, sometimes even variety or technology specific. So there are many different components, and they're really, really hard to make work in one place. Digital farming is quite futuristic by itself, but yeah, this slide, it shows science fiction from, I don't know, 50s or 60s. I was growing myself in the 70s, and I was watching all those movies. Well, yeah, that's pretty cool. In the 21st century, everybody's traveling in outer space, discovering new galaxies. Future looks a little bit different. So nobody was able to predict smartphones with some fancy apps, detecting weeds, detecting diseases, and things like that. So a few years ago, I spoke to a futurist, and I asked, what do you think, how the agriculture will look like in about 20 years? He said, you know, you won't like my answer, but it won't be much different to what we have today. Of course, there will be a lot of new things, new sensors, new algorithms, and things like that. But he said right now, nobody knows how to replace the rubber boots. You still have to go to the field. You still have to grow the crops, harvest the crops, and that will not change. So what are the main challenges and the main problems in digital agriculture? Let's assume you want to buy a new car, and you see the commercial. Yeah, looks like a very nice vehicle. You come to a dealer, and you say, I want to buy a new car. And the dealer says, yeah, this is your car. Said, no, but what do I do with those spare parts? Oh, yeah, we have a nice 2,000-page manual. You will be able to put it together yourself. Said, no, I want to buy a car. Said, no, but that's the way we work. And that's exactly what's happening in digital agriculture. There's no one single business, no one single solution that offers everything. So everybody offers one piece of a puzzle. Sometimes it's more important, sometimes it's less important piece of a puzzle. But right now, unfortunately, that's what we have. And digital agriculture is in a long evolution pathway, how to put all those spare parts and make them work as one ecosystem or one comprehensive thing that does everything. I just want to quickly go over a few things that some of you, or probably most of you, already using on the farm, probably for many years. So navigation, guidance, sectional control, those technologies, they picked up right away. And the reason for that, because you don't have to do a lot of things other than buying, using, and enjoying it. One more reason, because you probably heard many times, it actually hurts me when I hear somebody saying, yeah, farming is killing our environment. Guys, just stop. And don't impose too many regulatory requirements on farming. Just help farmers to be more efficient. I'm not a fan of regulations. Well, of course, there should be some legal framework for a number of things, but at the same time, I strongly believe that technology can improve many environmental things much more quicker and more efficiently. Like, for example, if you use sectional control and guidance, you can easily save up to 5% on seed, fuel, fertilizer, pesticides, no regulation, just pure technology, easy like that. So same thing about field logistics. This slide I took from The Verge Agriculture. Again, there are a few companies providing solutions for planning field mission, like pathway in the field. By optimizing the path in the field, you can save up to 5% of the fuel. So again, no regulations, just pure science, pure technology. So I spoke to a grower growing about 7,000 acres in Saskatchewan. He said, as soon as I started planning my mission and using sectional control on my farm, I saved about $50,000 on crop protection products. With the farm size growing pretty quickly in the last decades, fleet management logistics becomes quite a hot topic. Again, I'm not going to stop here for a long time, just want to mention that. Remote sensing is one of my favorite topics because remote sensing provides unprecedented scalability. You see on the left-hand side, there's a slide with a satellite image from Landsat 9 covering basically the whole PEI plus some parts of Nova Scotia and New Brunswick just on one snapshot. For every field on that snapshot, we can extract the information about crop conditions and create a biomass map, which can be used for variable rate seeding, planting, field scouting, variable rate fungicide application, of course, within the label rates, via fertilizer. We're going to talk a little bit more on our next slides. Remote sensing on the country scale is widely used by Statistics Canada and USDA for monitoring crop conditions and estimating yield at the country scale. So yeah, those are things kind of already employed by the industry and broadly used by many different players in the agriculture. So telecommunication, farm connectivity, and IoT, this is really interesting and hot topic right now. Many people talk about that. The only thing holding everything back is no high-speed internet in the field. So TELUS is heavily investing in this topic because for a telecommunication company, cell phone market is quite saturated. TV market is slowly dying. Okay, what's the next big thing for those companies? If you can connect multiple sensors in the field, it helps the industry and it helps telecommunication. So believe me, if there will be high-speed internet in every field, you will not recognize the industry in 5 years. Unfortunately, we're not there yet. Starlink is kind of changing the whole thing, but yeah, it's still a relatively slow process. Again, just going back to my statement about the complexity of agriculture, unfortunately, there are so many different factors influencing the digital ag adoption, and it starts, like I even don't want to read all those things, you can read them. A few years ago, we tried to analyze why the people are interested in utilizing digital technologies, and it was quite surprising. Some of the growers, they try to maximize their profit, so they didn't care about expenses. They just want to make sure that the profit is maximized. Some of them, they try to manage their budget in the most efficient way. Some of them, they try to save money, and it was even small percentage of the growers, mostly young guys, they didn't care about anything other than having cool gadgets. Oh yeah, look at that, I have my smartphone and my rate goes up, goes down, yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, fair statement. So everybody has different goals and different mentality. But one of the most important things, I believe it's a real low-hanging fruit for agriculture, is managing variability, especially what is related and called variable rate technology. And by the way, there will be a next presentation about variable rate seeding. Will be a very interesting discussion. But in this case, let's just look at the high-level overview. I travel a lot around the world. And you know, some people collect coins, some people collect cigarettes, drinks, stamps. I collect pictures of variable fields. So wherever I fly, I take pictures from the plane, and I have a collection from a whole bunch of different areas and countries. So every country is unique, but field variability, that's something that all those fields have in common. It doesn't matter whether the field is flat like a table near Amsterdam, or some hilly fields in Alberta, or some other interesting fields anywhere, including PEI. Doesn't matter. Every field is variable, and when we stand on the edge of the field, we cannot see that variability. So yeah, we can see some green, yellow spots, but when we look at the same field from the top, we can see huge difference. There are some areas with no or poor vegetation, medium vegetation, and high vegetation. And of course, those areas in the field, they require different tools, different technologies, or different fertilizer rates, different seeding rates. So somehow we need to manage that variability. So the problem is when we try to simplify it, because there is no simple solution. So what is So essentially, what is yield? Yield is an integrated result of so many different factors working together in one location and just in different combinations. It can be some features such as varieties or hybrids, crop rotation, tillage, agronomy, fertilizer, crop protection, machinery, so on. It's also a lot of things about soil organic matter, NPKs, water, calcium, magnesium, micronutrients, pH, growing degree days, slope position, slope direction, precipitations, radiation, well, so many things. It's altogether we can count over 140 base factors. So all those factors, they have a different combination in one field, and it becomes really, really complicated. Okay, how do we simplify that complexity? Question to the whole audience. What do you think, if you look at the yield potential in low productive zone and high productive zone, how big is the range in percent? What do you think? How many percent? Is it 5, 10%, 100%, 1,000%, million percent? What do you think? 15? Any other options? Just one of the examples. This is not a potato field, unfortunately. I don't have such a slide for a potato, but it's just a corn field from Kentucky, US, 29 acres, just 4-meter elevation range. So virtually it looks pretty flat, but this, when all the outliers were removed, there were over 500% yield variability. That's pretty typical. Even in Red River Valley, well, it can be 200-300% easily. I showed that slide to one of the groups in Saskatchewan. Was a guy sitting there, said, "Yeah, that's a bad American field. Show me a Canadian one." So, well, of course I was prepared. Well, again, that field, it's a quarter section, western Manitoba. The guy farmed 18,000 acres and a very, very good grower. I really liked communicating with him. So 100% trust to the data. So same field, variability in nitrogen in the soil, almost 500%. Okay, definitely there's an opportunity here. So it's always about agronomy, not just about using fancy gadgets, because if you apply something cool with no fundamental agronomy, it will be poor agronomy applied precisely. Unfortunately, those are not my words. I stole them from Marcus Bratton. He's one of the best US agronomists living in Montana, working for Yara. So if you look at the cost of fertilizer, depending on crop conditions and certain practices, it can be anywhere between 20 and 50%. So yield variability can be a few 100%. Usually, if you apply variable rate technology in the field, you can improve your fertilizer efficiency by 15-25%, and you can increase your yield by up to 10%. So literally, by applying another technology, you can be about 5-10% more efficient. So there's economic consideration. If somebody comes to you and offers variable rate technology, and the person tells you, yeah, you can double your yield, just it's a red flag. You cannot double your yield using variable rate technology. But you can definitely be about 10% more efficient. That determines the cost of that technology. So realistically, if your profit from growing wheat is about $200 per acre, and you can improve that by 10%, so realistically, the cost of variable rate solution should be about $4 per acre, just to make sense for the farming operations. In potato fields, if your profit is $500 per acre, again, It has to be 3 to 5x for the grower, so should be at the level of about $10–15 per acre, ideally per year. When it comes to variable rate technology, again, variable rate technology is not one technology. It's a group of technologies depending on what exactly you're trying to achieve. It can employ completely different tools, completely different instruments. So the thing is, though, everything starts with delineating field boundaries, because everything on the farm depends on the total field area. So you need to know how many acres you're farming. So depending on that, you're planning field operations, you're planning your fertilizer, you're planning your seed, crop protection products, and things like that. So by the way, those field boundaries, they were delineated by the computer. So automatically delineated field boundaries. Once you have field boundaries delineated, now we come to delineation of management zones. And I'll tell you a little secret. Have you ever seen 5 or 10 agronomists fist fighting? No? Yeah, if you want to see that, take 5 agronomists, put them in one room, give them a couple of drinks, and ask how they delineate management zones. Literally, 2 hours later, there will be a fist fight. So, again, my answer, I'm not going to say this way is better, this way is worse. Everything depends on what exactly you're trying to achieve. So, if you want to know the spatial variability of soil nutrients, including N, P, K, S, pH, or you want to know soil organic matter pH, how it's varying across the field, there is nothing better than grid sampling. So grid sampling has been known for 100 years. Unfortunately, it's the most time, labor consuming, the most expensive agronomic operations. I did soil sampling myself. I had a gun pointed at me twice in the field, not exaggerating. Like one farmer, he didn't know me. He just thought I was a road construction guy trying to seize his land. Another guy thought I was a hunter trespassing, but well, I wasn't shot. Don't worry. But the thing is, like again, if you want to know exactly your soil properties, if you want to learn the main yield limiting factors, grid sampling, is probably a good thing to do. If you do your basic math and you think you can afford that, yeah, that might be worthwhile to do. There's another approach based on topography. Again, myself analyzed the data from over 20,000 fields, and we all know topography is the factor driving a lot of things in the field, including soil erosion, including water movement and things like that. But I learned over the years, field topography is often not correlated to yield for a number of reasons. In particular, this is an interesting field where usually in Alberta, if you have elevated spot, it's a low yielding area, but this field works the opposite. Because low spots where there should be, oops, my bad, sorry. Usually low spots should have better moisture. In this case, those low spots, they have high sodium. So it's not lack of moisture driving the yield, it's salinity and acidicity limiting the yield. So anytime you're working with VRT service provider, make sure the information is taken in the right context. Soil electrical conductivity is another commonly used approach. So there are 2 types of soil EC machines, a disc machine and electromagnetic machines. Same thing. Yeah, there are certain advantages and disadvantages of the approach. So it works pretty well in some fields where you have just one yield limiting factor. When there are more than one, it can be hit and miss. This is an interesting example based on soil EC. There is some areas here, like you see those brown spots, there are areas with high salinity and high moisture, and it's not.
You have to hold the button for a second.
Yeah. Okay. No. Yeah. For some reason it's disappearing, but anyway, that field has elevated area on the southwest, in the southwest corner, and a nice area with a good drainage here. Like based on the yield data, we have different yield potential. Based on soil EC, those are quite similar. So again, make sure that you're using the tool for the right purpose in the right context. So if you want to know the variability of soil texture, soil moisture, yeah, this is a good tool. If you want to plan yield potential, you need additional layer of data. Typically, it's yield monitoring data. One more thing about soil EC, it's quite sensitive to soil moisture because ideally you should collect soil EC data about 4 or 5 days after rain. If somebody tells you it's just one time, once in a lifetime you need to do that, that's not exactly correct. So if you collect EC data after the rain and then few days later, you will be surprised how different your soil EC can look like. So my personal recommendation from personal experience, if you like EC, it is worthwhile to repeat mapping at least 3 times, overlay that, and come up with an average map that produces way more interesting data. And gamma ray spectrometry, this is a more rare approach, but still used by a number of people. Naturally, soil has certain low concentration of radioactive radionuclides. Uranium, thorium, radioactive potassium, very low and natural, but that can be detected by a sensor. So the way it works, the machine drives back and forth and detects those concentrations, and that's how you can delineate the areas with different soil types and different minerals. So unlike soil EC, that doesn't depend on any soil moisture or anything, so just pure soil minerals. Again, it's not cheap, unfortunately. There are a few other ways using passive microwaves soil sensing for measuring and mapping soil moisture. This is way more challenging because soil moisture is very dynamic. So you see 2 soil maps, soil moisture maps before and after the growing season. They look like earth and sky. Again, it's not the approach is wrong. It's just the purpose of why you trying to use it for. What are you trying to use it for? Just over 10 years ago, I spoke to one of the friends and colleagues. He came to me. He said, "You know what? We did a grid sampling in the field, and we tried to find the yield limiting factor." And he said, literally none of the characteristics we measured, they were correlated with grain yield. He said, "Why? What did we do wrong?" I said, "Nothing. It just means there is no one single yield limiting factor. There are many of them. So in one part of the field, it's low moisture limiting yield. In another part, it's salinity limiting yield. In another part, it's actually high moisture limiting yield. But when you pile up everything together, you got correlation coefficients being close to 0. By the way, that's the Manitoba field as well. Again, if you want my personal opinion, usually we say we don't fertilize soil, we fertilize crop. And for that reason, the most important and the most valuable data on the farm is yield monitoring data. Before coming over here, I was asking Ryan how many growers use yield monitors in potato. Still not too many, but 10 years ago, it was close to 0. Now, apparently, that technology becomes more and more common. So if you start collecting yield data, I know in potato it's much more challenging than in wheat or corn, but it's still a really good source of data. If you overlay several years of yield data, you can come up with quite reliable zone management, zone map. And the most important thing is when you plan your fertilizer rate, you can determine your yield potential for every acre in the field. Because every crop consultant use average nutrient removal rates. So yeah, if you grow potatoes, you know that 1 ton or 1 cubic weight removes certain amount of NPK, S from soil. And unless you replenish that nutrient, that means you're depleting your soil organic matter, and you don't want to do that. So for that purpose, having yield data on the farm is really important. There are many other useful things that you can do with yield monitoring, but again, planning fertilizer rates, I think it's one of the most important things. So field variability, if you look either at the imagery or yield data, in many cases they look quite similar. Everything can be explained. You can explain why certain parts of the field produce better, some of them produce worse. Everything can be explained, and if you need to, you just go to those areas, high, low producing, and you collect soil tests, and you can explain why those areas produce or don't produce, and that's how you plan your fertilizer rates. So most of the yield increase due to variable rate technology comes from the zones with a higher yield potential. That's where you get additional yield increase. And in low productive zones, that's where you save on fertilizer. So that increases your fertilizer efficiency. Yeah, this slide is just to confirm what I just said. About 80% of the yield increase comes from the higher and medium yielding zones, and that's the best land on the farm. That's something that the growers really need to take care of. That's your probably the most precious resource on the farm. Again, there's a misconception about variable rate technology that the purpose is to make fields yielding evenly. Good luck with that. It's not gonna happen because there are certain areas, again, depending on what's the reason limiting yield. If it's low moisture or high moisture or salinity, it doesn't matter how much fertilizer you will be applying over there. You can apply a lot of fertilizer, but you will not increase your yield because it's not lack of fertilizer limiting that. Another reason why you would love to have yield monitoring data, because you can analyze profit and loss on every acre. So because you know either where you grow potatoes or grain, you know the prices for potatoes or grain, and then you know your expenses, so you can overlay those 2 layers and you can identify areas where you make most of the money from, or you don't make money, or even where you incur some losses. A few other interesting applications. If you have imagery or yield data, you can plan your field experiments, field trials, so you can make sure that your small plots or your check strips, they're located in the same or comparable conditions, so you're comparing apples to apples. Resolution of the geospatial data, that's another interesting thing, because you probably heard so many times, oh, the resolution of our drone imagery is less than 1 centimeter. Okay, yeah, so using the same analogy, if you want to look at a common scab on potato tubers, you don't need a microscope for that. Is that right? Yeah, because you can see that without the microscope. Same thing if you want to analyze field variability, your scale of data should be comparable to the swath of field equipment. So it's something you can actually manage in the field. A lot of questions about drone technology. I'm I shouldn't say I'm skeptical, but I'm cautious about using drones as a universal tool. Again, the main question is what exactly we're trying to achieve. So those images, my son, he was 14 years old. I took him to the field with his DJI Mavic Mini, and I said, yeah, I want to scout that field. I want to make sure you take pictures here and here and here, check the lodging, and check the status of field sensors. It took him 5 minutes to collect that data. And I was listening to the Tracy's presentation. Here's a business opportunity. And going back to the question how the future will look like, I think multi-million-dollar opportunity. Imagine a drone with a powerful laser flying above the field and shooting Colorado beetles. You know what? Sounds funny. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that, because I was always dreaming about a device killing mosquitoes with a laser. And just recently saw somewhere on the internet the guy in China developed a laser like that. So just killing mosquitoes with a laser in the room. So, okay, technically, you know, a farm kid, instead of playing Fortnite, he just launches a drone and shoot Colorado beetles. Well, at least it will be a little bit more useful of the time. And another topic is about drone spraying. It's still illegal in Canada, but it's just a matter of time when it will become standard. So you go to many trade shows worldwide, almost every show, there are 2-3 companies from China already selling those drones for spraying. So again, if you know exactly you have a spot that you would like to spray in the field, you just send the drone there, you spray that spot, and it's simple and it's very efficient. Just coming to the final part, there are some interesting things, because we all have high expectations, but life is tough. Unfortunately, not everything works very easily, because when you buy AutoSteer, you just buy and you enjoy it. Variable rate technology, there are a lot of things you have to do before the technology will work. So it's still not as simple as the people expect. Few things when Silicon Valley students come to the farms and they claim transformation of the industry, I always smile. Yeah, we're going to sell satellite imagery to farmers. Really? Another bright idea. Well, yeah, we're going to detect crop diseases from satellite imagery. Well, yeah, you can detect crop diseases from satellites. What's the point? Yeah, you can write a nice letter of condolences to the grower saying, yeah, dear sir, please accept our deepest sympathies. Your crop is dead. Okay, too late. Those who saw fields with late blight, well, come on, you don't need anything from space. If you have, like, especially if you're a Dutch farmer and you have 20 degrees, you had rain last night, just go ahead and spray as soon as possible. Because if you don't, you'll have late blight and the crop will be gone in a few hours, so especially if you have a susceptible variety. I even took this picture in one of the plots. Again, not potato, unfortunately, but this is healthy crop. This is the crop with 100% yield loss. And you can still see nice green crop. So there is no way you can detect that from space. So again, it's not that technology is wrong. It's just what technology you use for which purpose that matters. There are a few other things, like powerful platform. Yeah, it helps to collect and manage ag data. Okay. Question number 1, what exactly is the problem that you're trying to solve? So that always has to be question number 1. So we're not here working for just for fun. We're still running the business. And any solution that comes from digital agriculture has to be pragmatic and efficient. weather information, again, unfortunately, because of short time, we couldn't cover everything. But weather information is such a key component for many things, including modeling diseases, growth stages, and many other things. We just want to make sure that the weather stations, they're well installed in the right place and well calibrated. I'll just skip those. So that, from my standpoint, that's the main challenge of digital ag, is underestimating complexity. Many people talk about the integrated approach. I stole that slide from Nathan Falady on LinkedIn. So yeah, people say, yeah, we need to bring together soil, yield, imagery, weather. Usually it comes like a weird combination, like a soup, but digital agriculture is not a soup. So it's more a transformer type of a thing. So depending on what exactly you're trying to achieve, a combination of tools can be different. From my standpoint, how the integrated approach would look like. We all know if you guys use social media, doesn't matter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, those guys probably know about us more than we do. How do? They analyze what you click, what you search for, how you react on things. So it can be relatively easy applied in the agricultural industry. The only thing we're missing is the reliable training data for that. Just want to give you an example. The population of planet Earth is it 7 or 8 billion people? Okay, right now I'm thinking about one single person, and you need to tell me who that person is. And I'll just start adding data layer. Calgary, 7 billion, shrank to 1.5 million. Still quite large audience. Hockey, doesn't help a lot because almost everybody plays hockey in Calgary. Dodge commercial. Well, I had another layer, number 9, but yeah, of course. Well, but that's exactly how, from my standpoint, digital ag should work. Okay, yeah, if you have certain conditions, you have potato crop, you have a nice juicy biomass, you have 22 degrees, you have rain in the last few days, it's very likely you'll have late blight. So you have hot weather, you have potato fleas present in the field, it's very likely that you will end up with potato virus problem. So that approach, from again my standpoint, this is one of the most promising concepts in the industry, and I really want to see how that will be implemented. So essentially, my last slide here, what exactly the industry expects. The industry expects the easy button. So instead of you buying a whole bunch of spare parts for your car, you just want to buy a car and you want to enjoy it. So I think yeah, it will take a while. Will take probably still a few decades probably until we'll see those comprehensive solutions. But instead of buying 100 or 1,000 of different things, you will be able just to come to a service provider and buy a comprehensive solution. And that includes geospatial field data analysis, soil analysis, creation of prescription files, fertilizing, seeding, planting, scouting, in-season decisions, harvesting, crop sales, and things like that. So I would expect that in the future, I don't know, hopefully I will see that myself. I would like to see those comprehensive solutions that will make a noble agricultural business being easier, funnier, and better respected in the world. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, I see that orange device. Yeah, please feel free to ask any questions, and I'll stay around for the next few hours. So yeah, feel free to connect and look forward to that. Thank you.
Questions for Alex?
Yeah, as we try to turn data into knowledge, it seems like every time you go through these processes, everybody wants to justify what they can supply for the farmer by saving them money. But do we drill this down so we can say in those best yielding spots, what was the actual amount of nutrients it took to grow a crop? Instead of saying we can move more there to get more crop, can we just take it back and say, wow, we really can rate, we grew this huge potato crop on 105 pounds of nitrogen per acre instead of 150 pounds. Can we gather that information out? Because a lot of the people that are doing, trying to sell these products are not trying to find that. They're trying to justify why I can sell you a piece of equipment. It's not about equipment. It's about, can we actually justify what we really, truly learn from that?
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. Basically, I'll probably say it would be a holy grail of farming. So, yeah, you can, in some cases, you can just reverse engineer your conditions. So you analyze, you scrutinize your best yielding areas, and you know what is the combination of factors, and you try to bring that combination of factors to as many acres as you have. I know it's not that easy because, well, you can increase your soil organic matter from 3% to 6% in 1 year. You know what, I actually saw the cases when soil samples came back 1 year, 6 point something percent. Next year, they came 3 point something percent. The farmer called, said, what should I do? Said, thing number one, fire your agronomist, and then we'll have a chat. So, but no, I should thank you for that, because that reverse engineering a good combination of factors, I think that's a great idea. So I couldn't agree more.
Regarding your deconstructed Volkswagen Rabbit you had in the beginning, representing different technologies, do you expect AI in the future to be able to data mine those different technologies and perhaps bring us a useful product?
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's already out there. So in the last few years, we ran, we called it Hyperlayer Project at Olds College. Basically, overlaying many different factors and using different machine learning approaches, trying to predict plant available NPK, and surprisingly worked pretty well. So again, not different to what Facebook does to us. They probably know my secret wishes better than I do. You can apply the same concept in field agronomy. The only thing you need a lot of training data, and collecting that training data set in the agriculture is time and labor consuming, and it's extremely difficult. And data privacy is another aspect, because I had a presentation before, so I showed how we were able to predict soil nutrients, and right away a grower came up to me. He said, doesn't mean that you can tell me how much NPK I have in my soil. I said, theoretically, yes. He said, doesn't mean that my neighbor can buy that from you. I said, no, that's not the plan. He said, like, his face literally turned red, and he said, under no circumstances I don't want my neighbor to know anything about my soils, period. And I said, yeah, don't worry, that's not the plan, but sooner or later, somebody will do that. That's my answer. So.
That's all the time we have for questions for now, but Alex, you said you're going to be around in a couple hours.
Yep.
If you wanted